President Trump is sending 1,500 active duty troops to the southern border. He wants them there by the end of the month. He's also moving forward with other elements of his immigration policy during a busy first week back in office. Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy starts us off live from the North Lawn. Good evening, Peter.
Good evening, Brett. We've been reading through President Trump's latest executive order. He's using his authority under Article 2 of the Constitution to forbid anybody that makes it across the U.S. southern border illegally from staying. He is also now sitting down for his first interview as the 47th president.
Only the second time in history somebody didn't have consecutive terms.
Yeah. Well, they say it's historically bigger.
And as promised, the president is closing the border, sending 1,500 active duty U.S. troops to the border by the end of this month to join 2,500 troops already there as part of an effort to repel, repatriate, and remove illegal aliens.
President Trump is using every lever of his executive power to secure our nation's borders. This is the #1 promise that he made to the American people on the campaign trail.
President Trump is settling back into the Oval Office, a place J.D. Vance had never been.
Wow. This is J.D. Vance's first time to step into the Oval Office.
Wow. This is incredible.
Oh! Fox News was given an exclusive first look at the handwritten letter President Biden left for President Trump. It says, in part, "I wish you and your family all the best in the next 4 years. May God bless you and guide you as he has blessed and guided our beloved country since our founding." Things are less civil between Elon Musk and one of the CEOs President Trump celebrated as part of the $500 billion AI project, Stargate. Musk tweeted, "They don't actually have the money." OpenAI's Sam Altman tried to take the high road, responding, "I genuinely respect your accomplishments," and inviting Musk, "Want to come visit the first site already underway." An unimpressed Musk later wrote, "Sam is a swindler." The former president's last-minute pardons for siblings are not sitting well with Democrats. Axios quotes former Obama Chief of Staff Bill Daley as saying, "It's disgusting."
This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him.
And we're learning that one of the first bills President Trump will wind up signing since coming back to office will be the Laken-Riley Act. That is the one that deports illegal immigrants that get arrested for any reason. Tonight, it easily cleared the House of Representatives. 46 Democrats voted yes. It already passed the Senate. Next stop, the Resolute desk.
Those that want people to believe that you want retribution, that you will use the system of justice to go after your political ends.
Maybe smash a few things along the way.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's Benny here on Baby Duty at the house. We are joined in the studio by our excellent production team, and we're going to witness live tonight President Trump's first interview from the Oval Office. That will take place in a matter of approximately 12 minutes from now, and there's so much news. We did 2.5 hours live today, and we barely even scratched the surface. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the golden era. You are in the front seat here on our channel, and we're really, really excited to tell you right now that Donald Trump is more popular than he's ever been in his entire life. In his entire life. That's including when he was sidling up with all of the celebrities in Hollywood and all these people that hopefully he'll be putting in jail for Epstein Island. Donald Trump being the only person, I know this is a funny little tidbit, but I must remind everyone, Donald Trump, and producer ALX is on, he can check me, even though he's lost his voice because we were partying too hard at the inauguration. Donald Trump is the only celebrity that helped put Jeffrey Epstein in jail, period. I know this is not what this live is about. But Donald Trump is sitting here, ladies and gentlemen, with the Epstein list, with the Diddy list, with all of these scumbags that turned on him. And if you were to talk to the lawyers in Palm Beach that were able to actually lock up Jeffrey Epstein for the first time in 2008, they'll say the only man who came to help us and to testify against him was Donald Trump. And so when Donald Trump is sitting there talking about how, wait a second, why didn't Joe Biden pardon himself? Let me tell you, Donald Trump has a long history. Look at my, this is what happens when you do it at home. Look at this funny little thing. You know what? Whatever. We're letting it rip. You know, we got like a little like spare room here. So this is what we got. Klein, get me an in-ears, will you please? Get the thing. Get me a proper in-ears here for the home. There we go. All right. Whatever. You know what? Whatever. What do they say? What does Bill O'Reilly say? We'll do it live. We'll do it live. In case you're ever wondering, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we are actually literally live. So President Trump has previewed in a very, very short clip what we're going to hear very soon. President Trump said, wait a second, why didn't Joe Biden pardon himself? This doesn't seem like a good idea. It was Joe Biden who's the actual criminal here. Would Donald Trump be able to get away with actually putting Joe Biden in prison and prosecuting Joe Biden? You know, the Supreme Court ruled that when you're president, you can't generally be prosecuted for legitimate acts as president. Official acts is what they actually call it in the statute. Well, Joe Biden wasn't president when he was running all these schemes with his family. Joe Biden wasn't president when he was sabotaging during the 2020 election. Donald Trump. Joe Biden wasn't president during Burisma and all these China deals. Joe Biden was the vice president, or Joe Biden was a private citizen. And so it really does beg the question, is Donald Trump planning on going after Joe Biden? Does he have the political will? Well, Donald Trump is proving that he has all of the political will and that he has all of the political credit and the dry gunpowder to actually go after Joe Biden. The reason why is that the left is completely had their balls cut off. Like, for lack of a better term, I grew up on a farm, right? Like, you got to see what happens when the animals get castrated. This is what the left did. The left has no idea. This is like Donald Trump is doing a shock and awe campaign. They don't even know what to be outraged about next. They can't even muster, ladies and gentlemen, enough outrage to figure out where they should directionally go. I've never seen the left so demoralized. I've never seen them so incapacitated. I've never seen them so gasping and grasping at straws. And President Trump's more popular than ever. Now, this is what, this is the CNN clip that I wanted to show you. Mr. Harry Enton. We're going to be watching a Fox News interview tonight, John Hannity with Donald Trump, but this CNN clip is how we're going to start the program out. Because this is amazing. Harry Enton is one of these guys, and you've seen clips of him. He's the only guy that will actually put a clip up of CNN because he's like a pollster and he's a data guy, and he's been very, very fair to President Trump. In fact, it was Harry Enton who, regularly throughout the election cycle, would blackpill CNN audiences saying, you know what, guys, Donald Trump is doing really well in this election, and Donald Trump will be president. And he was often saying that. He's often saying the data is pointing to President Trump becoming president. And everyone would gasp and cry and laugh and snicker in his face. But he was right. Now, where does Donald Trump stand? This is why we trust this guy. Here we go. Take it away, Harry Enton.
So we have slightly different questions, but these were all taken within the last month. And there's real uniformity here. That's what I really think you see. You see real uniformity. Deported all immigrants who are here illegally, 55% of the New York Times. Marquette, 64%. CBS News, 57%. ABC News with a slightly different question, 56%. So what you're seeing essentially here is a very clear indication that a majority of Americans, in fact, when they're asked this blunt question, which I believe gets at the underlying feelings, do in fact want to deport all immigrants who are here illegally. There's no arguing with these different numbers because they're all essentially the same across 4 different pollsters.
So if they say yes today-ish, how has that changed over time?
Yeah, this is where I think you get very interesting. And so we'll take a look at that ABC News question in particular because you can really see that there's been a massive shift from when Trump was first getting into office 8 years ago, right? Deport all undocumented immigrants. You go back to 2015, I'm going to come to your side of the screen, it was 42%. Hello. Go to 2016, it was 36%. Look at where we are now. This was taken at the end of last year, 56%. This is 20 points higher than it was just before Trump got into office the first time. So feelings towards immigration in this country, feelings towards undocumented immigrants and deporting all of them have become considerably more hawkish, and I think that gives Donald Trump much more leverage to go with the American people and sort of have these hawkish, some might say harsh, different rhetoric and also issue-based sort of going after immigrants who are here illegally. And so I think the American people are going to give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt to do what he wants to do, at least if you believe these blunt questions, including this one.
How about immigration levels?
Yeah, okay. So this sort of goes in line with that, right? Which is, again, trying to get at the underlying feelings. Want immigration levels decreased. This includes legal and illegal immigration. Look at this. Last year, 55%. That is the highest level since the 9/11 aftermath. You go back just to 2020.
And this, again, legal and
Legal
illegal.
and
So they
illegal.
people want less people coming into the country.
Exactly. They want less people coming into the country. Look at that. That's a 14-point rise from 2023.
Obviously.
You go back to 2016 when Donald Trump again was running for president the first time. It was 38%. That's a 17-point rise. So the bottom line is more folks want people who are here illegally deported, and their overall feelings towards immigration have become considerably more hawkish since Donald Trump was first getting into office, Kate.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can report to you right now, for the first time in President Trump's political life, and we checked, for the first time in his political life, Donald Trump has a net positive favorable versus unfavorable. Now, obviously, you're going to say, that's insane. You know, we really like Trump. Trump won the popular vote. Trump won all the swing states. Trump won everything. Like, listen, you have to understand how broken polling is. You have to understand that polling is done in a way, in a manner, that they're going to poll people that are from blue states and that are in large metropolitan areas and who pick up their phones and who pick up landlines. Who do you think those people are? People who are in nursing homes, people who have dementia. And they're like, I really connect with Joe Biden because he has dementia and he needs diapers just like I do. And he has dribbles of applesauce right down his face and right down the front of his shirt. And I connect with that guy, right? Or like people are like, I really connect with Kamala Harris. Like, I'm a miserable cat lady living, surviving off a box of wine day in and day out. And I want to divorce my husband too. And so I really connect with Kamala Harris. We have that story for you. We'll see if we have time to get to it. But I have here, look at this. Look, Donald Trump is net positive favorability with the American people. Again, polling is broken. This just shows you how popular Trump is. Take that number and add 20 points to it, and you'll get the real number. President Trump is literally freaking rolling. Now, that clip was about mass deportation. Donald Trump has now the public on his side for mass deportation. So we're probably going to hear a lot about that when President Trump is live here very soon from the Oval Office. Tom Homan, who is the border czar, somebody who's a friend of our show, who kicked a lot of ass when he was on our show, was asked on Fox News, how do you get deported? And his answer rings like a bell.
What would a person have to do to get a visit from ICE?
For it to be in the country illegally, first of all. I mean, there's nothing in the immigration law that says you got to be convicted of a serious crime to be removed under the INA. So if you're in the country illegally, ICE can visit you. But right now, as we said repeatedly, and the President Trump's been clear, we're concentrating on the worst first, the public safety threats, the national security threats. And just yesterday, in the last 24 hours, ICE arrested over 308 serious criminals. Some of them were murderers. Some of them were rapists. Some of them raped a child. Some were a sexual assault of a child. So ICE is doing their job, and they're prioritizing just as the president said they would. So the ICE is performing excellent right now out in the field, and they're going to continue every day.
So, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, since our show this morning, Donald Trump has deployed the military down to the southern border, the full force of the United States military. There are now 5,000 American military soldiers stationed on our border, and I expect that number to increase as President Trump has declared the cartel is a terrorist organization. Tom Homan is noting that there were only 700 apprehensions on the border in the first 48 hours of the Trump administration. There were 12,000 per day under Joe Biden, 12,000 per day. What a difference a president makes. Ladies and gentlemen, even Eric Adams is saying now he's coordinating with ICE in order to get all the mass illegals out of New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the change that we voted for. This is exactly what we've been looking for. Oh, it is so unbelievably refreshing. So, how much have we won in culture? This might be the last clip that we have to play. Our producers, by the way, are online. They are watching right now. We will cut to President Trump live in the Oval Office, his first interview. You guys just let me know, okay? Just jump on in. But we're going to, obviously, we're going to do it when Trump's being interviewed. Here's Theo Von. Theo Von is this dude who is, if you don't know who Theo Von is, very famous comedian. He's very popular. He has very popular shows and he has very popular content. Theo Von was asked in the streets, hey, can you record a video for my friend who's being deported?
You got deported, dude. Bye.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning in culture. We are winning in the realm of taking our country back. So one final clip I got to get to if we're talking about border here, and it's like there's so much to talk about, but if we're going to talk about the border, this is a lady from Chicago who was on Fox earlier today. She's an activist from Chicago, and she says, I'm really excited to help ICE round up all the illegals in my neighborhood. There's a black woman on in Chicago, and she's like, every black person I know is really excited to round up the illegals and help Donald Trump get them out of here. Look, all I'm going to say is why don't you travel to the black neighborhoods of Chicago like I've done? And we were there in the DNC and we spent half the time like actually talking with people in neighborhoods, right? And they were predominantly black. And why don't you ask them what they think about criminal aliens? Check this out.
I am confident in this administration. I am confident in Tom Homan getting things done. And I am confident that the Chicagoans are going to step up. We're ready to assist in any way we can. There are those of us who are willing to work with this administration to make sure that people who are here illegally are sent back home. We want to also make sure that those criminals who came here to set up their criminal operations, again, are sent home. And so whatever we have to do as Chicagoans to assist with that, we're ready and willing to help.
Okay. Here is more.
Also, like, so freaking based. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. President Trump from the Oval Office.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Let's go.
Let's talk about the moment you walked back in this office, this desk, this room, your carpet. How'd you feel?
Well, it was a lot of work. And as you know, I felt that we shouldn't have had to necessarily be here. Could have been done. A lot of work could have been, it would have been over. We wouldn't have inflation. We wouldn't have had the Afghanistan disaster. Wouldn't have October 7th with Israel where so many people were killed. And you wouldn't have a Ukraine war going on. But with all that being said, I think it's bigger. It's bigger than if it were more traditional.
Only the second time in history somebody didn't have consecutive terms.
Yeah. Well, they say it's historically bigger. I don't know about that. But I can say it showed us a couple of things. It showed us that the radical left, their philosophies and policies are horrible. They don't work. You look at crime, you look at what's gone on at the border, you look at what's going to happen, the crime that's going to happen. But I think we got there just in the nick of time. But we still have you covered better than anybody. We have terrorists in our country by the thousands. We have murderers in our country by the tens of thousands. We have numbers that came out, 11,000 people that murdered are now free and walking around in our country. And of them, I think 48%, they say, killed more than one person, and they're walking around. They came out of jails from other countries. And, people, they've emptied their jails. I would, if I were the president or prime minister or something of another country, I'd empty my jails right into America, into the United States. Why not? And many of them did it. If you look at Venezuela, their crime rate is down now 78% because they took their street gangs and they moved them into the United States. And you're seeing that in Colorado and Los Angeles and other places. And we're going to take care of it.
So did Biden really say to you when you came up to the front of the White House, welcome home?
No, did somebody say that?
I read it somewhere.
I don't know. Maybe he did. I really don't know.
So you left him a letter. It was funny with Peter Doocy, and Peter said, oh, Mr. President, did Joe Biden leave you a letter? He did leave you a letter.
He did.
And you had left him one, but you've never disclosed either one of them.
Well, a lot of people
now would be a great time.
You know, it was interesting. A lot of people thought it was sort of like a setup with Peter Doocy and myself, and I have a lot of respect for Peter. But he just asked me a question about the letter. And then I remember that, it's like a custom. You leave it right in the drawer of that beautiful desk right alongside of us. And so I opened it up, and I actually gave the letter to Peter.
And did he got to read it?
I guess. I haven't.
You don't know if you read it?
I just sent it to him a little while ago.
All right, before we get into, there's so much substance. You are inheriting a lot of problems, a lot of things that actually scare me. Yeah. And I want to get to all of that, but I will get to all of that. They're
all solvable problems.
I agree.
They're all solvable.
Not easy.
With time, effort, money, unfortunately, but they're all solvable problems. We can get our country back. But if we didn't win this race, I really believe our country would have been lost forever.
Were there moments, I mean, when you think of what they threw at you, and I know you signed this declaration about no more weaponization, and we know that the preemptive pardons came up on Joe's way out, but you were facing a civil trial, a criminal trial, conviction, sentencing, Jack Smith, D.C., Florida, Fonnie Willis. I mean, you fought through all of that to get back right here in this office. What people don't know is over there's a little red button you push. You scare people. People think it's the nuclear button, but it's really,
something else.
It's you use it for a different purpose. But the question I have was: at any point, did you doubt you would be back here?
So it's a great question. It's something I don't think about. I never really thought about it. I don't think about, gee, will I be back? I just do it. I get it done. I get things done. I'm good at getting things done, and I set my mind to it. As you know, we had a great election in 2016. I had a much better election in 2020. And if I didn't have that election, I wouldn't have run. If I thought that I didn't get the number of votes, and it was reported that I got almost 75 million votes, and that was their numbers. That wasn't the numbers. That was their numbers. That was more than anybody has gotten in history, any sitting president had ever gotten. And you lost. Had I gotten like 50 million, or 40 million, or 60 million, I would never have run. But that was like a poll. So, but I had a different attitude. Too big to rig.
Poll came out just in the last 24 hours by Insider Advantage. That's Matt Towery. Mm-hmm. He nailed 2016, 2020, and 2024. Great pollster, as you know.
Right.
And he gave you a 56% approval rating. He also said of Congress, and I had a town hall with members of Congress last night, that 70% of respondents want Congress to unite behind your agenda.
I watched that show. It was a great show, and you had some great people in the background. Yeah. I know every one of them, and they're really patriots. I just saw the love, as the speaker, who is doing a terrific job. The speaker is answering questions, and I saw the acknowledgement and the love they had. And those are tough people behind him. These are not easy people.
There are others that are tougher.
I said, well, I don't know. This is a tough group if they want to be. They're not, nobody much tougher. But they're very unified. I think they're going to do a great job.
But they have a small majority. You went through over 200 since we've got here. And we have breaking news today that we'll get to in a minute. And especially as it relates to the border and some other issues. But you're going to need to do some of these things legislatively. You will probably play the largest role in uniting them both in the House and Senate. Reconciliation, the Senate has very strict, rules governing how they can do it. Do you one big beautiful bill, two bills? Do you care at this point?
I don't care as long as we get to the final answer. I like the concept of the one bill. I guess I said one big beautiful, and that's what everyone faced. Actually, it's sort of a nice sound to it. But I do like that concept. It could be something else. It could be a smaller bill and a big bill. Right. But as long as we get to the right answer. Now, I will say that Los Angeles has changed everything because a lot of money is going to be necessary for Los Angeles. And a lot of people on the other side want that to happen. And
North Carolina, too.
Fast. Well, they don't care about North Carolina. The Democrats don't care about North Carolina. What they've done with FEMA is so bad. FEMA is a whole nother discussion because all it does is complicate everything. FEMA has not done their job for the last 4 years. I had FEMA working really well. We had hurricanes in Florida. We had Alabama tornadoes. But unless you have certain types of leadership, it gets in the way. And FEMA is going to be a whole big discussion very shortly because I'd rather see the states take care of their own problems. If they have a tornado someplace, and if they let that state, Oklahoma is very competent. I love Oklahoma. 77 out of 77 districts. And that's never been done before. I did it 3 times. I mean, think of it, 3 times. Never been done. Ronald Reagan had the record, 56 out of 77. I got 77 out of 77. So you have to love a place like that. I love Oklahoma. But you know what? If they get hit with a tornado or something, let Oklahoma fix it. You don't need. And then the federal government can help them out with the money. The FEMA is getting in the way of everything. And the Democrats actually use FEMA not to help North Carolina.
It makes no sense.
So I'm stopping on Friday. I'm stopping in North Carolina, first stop, because those people were treated very badly by Democrats. And I'm stopping there. We're going to get that thing straightened out because they're still suffering from a hurricane from months ago. And then I'm going to go to California.
Will you meet with Gavin?
I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. Look, Gavin's got one thing he can do. He can release the water that comes from the north. There is massive amounts of water, rainwater and mountain water that comes due with the snow, comes down as it melts. There's so much water, they're releasing it into the Pacific Ocean. And I told him it's a political thing for the Democrats. I don't know.
The tape. You said it to him in front of him in 2018.
I said it to him in front of the media and everything else, and nobody talks about it. The media never picks it up. You put it out. I was so happy to see that tape because some people said, is that possible? They have water coming down from the Pacific Northwest, which has a lot of water. So much water that they'd have to let some of it go at some point. They don't need reservoirs. They don't need any. They're spending all this money on these reservoirs, and they're fake reservoirs. You know,
But the reservoirs were empty. The hydrants didn't work, and they're not practicing the science of forestry, which is
sprinklers didn't work in the homes because they had no water. Think of it. We have sprinklers. Think of it with no water. They didn't have any water. The fire hydrants, you have to believe it, hard to believe. The place has sprinklers. It's nice. But you don't want to lose this office. By the way, how do you like it?
I'm glad. It's great to be back. I'm not going to lie.
You know, I've had the biggest people in the world come here, and they come into the Oval Office, and they just look, and they want time to look. They're looking around. George Washington, Honest Abe.
One day, maybe we can do a tour. We had a conversation, and maybe I shouldn't disclose this, but I will. And it was after the 2020 election. And you asked me a question, and we've known each other for 30 years, so we have a friendship and we have a professional relationship. And the question you asked me, maybe in the end it will be better that if I came back in 4 years. And we talked about history. After World War II, Winston Churchill was thrown out, but they brought him back. Grover Cleveland is the only other American president that did not serve consecutive terms. And my answer to you was, I thought it would be bigger if you came back.
It's turning out to be bigger. And I think one thing is happening is people are learning that they can't govern and that their policies are terrible. I mean, they don't want to see a woman get pummeled by a man in a boxing ring.
No.
They don't want to see men in women's sports and otherwise. They don't want to see them, and they don't want to have transgender for everyone. They don't want a child leave home as a boy and come back 2 days later as a girl. A parent doesn't want to see that. And there are states where that can happen.
Oh.
They don't want to see taxes go through the roof. Like, this is the only group of people they want to raise your taxes. They say, we want to raise your taxes. You know, if they don't work with us on the Trump tax cuts extending, that would mean it would go back to the taxes. We got the largest tax cut in history. That would mean the taxes would go up more than any tax hike in the history of our country. And normally you'd say that's got to be the easiest negotiation in history, because if they did that, how could they ever win an election? But they'll fight us on that. They fight us on things. It's incredible.
Here, I ran into...
They don't use common sense. In my opinion, the Democrats don't use common sense.
I think common sense won the day in the election.
Yeah, but you know the amazing thing? I'm watching now. Now it's time, and, you know, a few months have passed, and the election's over and you see what happened, and it was a rout. I won all 7 swing states, and we won by millions of votes, the popular vote, millions. And nobody can even believe some of the numbers. And how about with African Americans, with Hispanics, with everything, how well we did? Nobody can believe the numbers. How about with youth? I won youth by 36 points. Now, maybe that's because I went on TikTok. I don't know. But I'm starting to have a very warm spot.
TikTok is going to be sold, right?
I think TikTok's going to be sold.
People like Senator,
people want to buy it. People want to buy it.
But those that say they know say it's a spying app for the communist Chinese.
But but you can say that about everything made in China. Look, we have our telephones made in China for the most part. We have so many things made in China. So why don't they mention that? You know,
Let me get to
the
some
interesting
issues.
thing with TikTok, though, is you're dealing with a lot of young people. So
they love it.
Is it that important for China to be spying on young people, on young kids watching crazy videos and things?
I don't want China spying on anybody.
No, but they make you telephones and they make you computers and they make a lot of other things. Isn't that a bigger threat?
I'm sure that'll be part of your discussions with President Xi, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. Let me go to the border. We do have breaking news today. I ran into Tom Homan as I was walking in today. And so far, 308 total arrests, 296 detainees, and the first deployment of military assets to the U.S. border. The deployment includes active duty troops in the National Guard. And here's my biggest fear and concern beyond the Iranian assassination squads is we now know 14 million. We don't know how many gotaways. We don't know the total number. But we have known terrorists in our country. We have known murderers, rapists. We have violent criminals, cartel members, gang members. Now, I would imagine if you came from Iran and Syria and Egypt and Afghanistan and Russia and China and Venezuela, you didn't come here because you want a better life for your children. I would imagine those known terrorists are planning an attack on our homeland. At a moment's notice, you're going to be in this desk, maybe sitting at this desk or maybe up in the residence, and they're going to call you down in the Situation Room because our homeland is under attack. I would like to be wrong. But when you have known terrorists, you have to believe that they are going to attack our homeland. That would change their trajectory, that moment of your entire presidency. That has to weigh on you.
Yeah, it could be. And I know I've watched you for a lot of years, and you actually make one statement before you say that. You say 100% certain.
I do.
That's a pretty big statement.
And then I say, I pray to God I'm wrong.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong too. And I won't comment, but I tend to agree with you. It depends. We'll see what happens. Look, we have a lot of great people right now, a lot of great people on this situation. This was a gross miscarriage of common sense to allow people to come in. And I believe the number is 21 million people, and a large percentage of them are criminals all over the world. This is not just South America. This isn't, we talk Venezuela, that's a big abuser, but these are countries from
Iran,
the
Syria?
Congo, countries that you don't even think of. The Congo has emptied their prisons out into the United States. We're not thinking about the Congo, we're thinking about South America. It's much more than South America. But prisons from all over the world have been emptied out into our country by Biden, allowing it to happen. I don't even know if he knew what the hell was going on, but who would want this? I always say to people, you always like to understand, like in a business here, you want to understand the other side. Why do they want something, et cetera, and you figure it out. And there's usually an answer, almost always. I don't understand, why does somebody want open borders and they say the vote. Okay, but I did well with the Hispanic vote. If you're looking at Hispanic, they say they do it because they want to think they're going to stay in power. It's going to be better for Democrats. I don't really believe that. Besides that, they cheat so much. They don't have to do that. They cheat so well. They're very good at cheating. The only thing they're good at really is cheating. But here's the thing I ask. Why would somebody say that open borders are good, where jails and mental institutions from other countries and gang members right off the streets of the toughest cities in the world are being brought to the United States of America and emptied out into our country? Why would anybody that even likes, you don't have to love our country, you have to like it. Why would anybody that likes our country, the Democrats, allow that to happen? And even now, I watch them on television, they're trying to justify it. You can't justify it. The only reason it can be is two reasons. You're stupid, and I don't think they're stupid. I think anybody that cheats that much and that well is not stupid. You're either stupid or you hate the country. Those are the only two reasons. Sean, who would ask for open borders with people pouring in, some of whom, I won't get into it, but you can look at them and you can say, could be trouble, could be trouble. There are people coming in.
There are people with gang tattoos on.
There are people coming in with tattoos all over their face. Their entire face is covered with tattoos.
That identifies
Typically, you know he's not going to be the head of the local bank.
Part 2 of my exclusive interview with the president only moments away. Stay with us as we continue from the White House.
Hey, Benny. Just wanted to pop on and let you know you're muted.
Sorry about that. How embarrassing. I'm so sorry, guys. I was muted. Okay, so you're going to have to forgive me. I've had like 5 hours of sleep, all right, in the last couple days. The reason why I'm muted is because I don't like talking over the president. I also am in the chat when the president's talking. I'm in the chat chatting with you. And so it's literally me in the chat when I'm talking. Okay, thanks guys. That's completely destroyed. It's literally me in the chat. So when I'm talking with you, and I don't like I like the sound of typing, or I don't like the sound of like me yelling or talking over Trump. It is my least favorite thing on earth to talk over President Trump. When interviewers do it, when commentators do it, it's something that CNN used to do. It's something that MSNBC used to do. They used to literally not let Trump speak. Do you remember this? When like Donald Trump would be giving a press conference, or when Donald Trump would be giving a victory speech or something, CNN and MSNBC would interrupt the middle of the speech and be like, okay, that's enough of that. So the reason why I mute myself during this is because I don't want to interrupt, I don't want to yell over or talk over, and I don't want to type over, but I do want to comment in the chat because it's an ongoing conversation. What I was saying while muted, maybe I should have one of those. Maybe I should have one of those ALS sign language people in like the corner of the stream. Okay, just in case I do that again, because I've been doing this a lot. Again, forgive me. I've had about 5 hours of sleep in the last couple nights. The reason why we want to hear from the president in this moment is because, well, Donald Trump is on a roll. Donald Trump is on a roll of monster wins, unlike anything we've ever seen before. And we'll get back to the interview as soon as it clicks back on. But in the chat, I was hearing a lot of people saying, ask the damn question, Hannity. We do a lot of interviews on the show as well. And sometimes we have 2 guests on the podcast, on the stream. Sometimes we have 5 guests. I never want to filibuster questions where it's like I'm trying to give a big, long statement to the guest. Like the guest is there to be interviewed because the guest is somebody of import and interest. And so I never want to do the thing where I'm like giving a statement, right? I'm like telling the guest, I'm like monologuing to the guest. Tell me if I'm guilty of that. Maybe I am. We do, well, I guess we do talk for a living. Anyway, everybody's saying, ask the question, Hannity. Ask the damn question, Hannity. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump rolling through his first 72 hours now as president. It is Wednesday, Donald Trump, president at noon. On Monday, Trump has obliterated DEI. New demand to place every federal diversity program employee on paid leave by 5 p.m. on Wednesday. That would be today. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as it is 9:25 p.m., every single diversity office has now been put completely to bed, to death. It's done. They're gone. Every DEI hire inside the federal government has been put on leave or terminated. Ladies and gentlemen, there are some amazingly viral tweets that have gone out from a ton of different accounts saying like, oh, I was just fired today. I was like the DEI guy at NASA. Here we go. Donald Trump made good on his pledge to sever diversity, equity, and inclusion policies of the federal government as he is set to lay off DEI hires within 24 hours. The new Trump administration sent a letter to all heads and acting heads of government agencies on Tuesday informing them all federal employees in DEI roles must be placed on paid leave by 5 p.m. on Wednesday. All DEI offices and federal agencies are being shuttered in the move, which comes after Trump signed an anti-DEI executive order and cheering crowd on Monday. In a letter first obtained by CBS News, the agencies were ordered to take prompt actions against all departments focusing exclusively on DEI initiatives and programs. The letter also demanded that public DEI-focused web pages be taken offline. They all have been. It's really special and fun to go to these URLs and see them all completely 404'd. Any employees that are aware of coded or imprecise language intended to keep DEI programs alive but do not report them within 10 days are going to suffer adverse consequences. Why would you possibly have race discrimination baked into the federal government? That is what DEI is. DEI is we will discriminate against you because you're white or because you're Asian. We will make sure that the federal government is run by a cabal of people who can effectively control everything based on skin color, which is insane and antithetical to the country. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with
interview.
The Hannity interview.
What do you do, sanctuary states? By definition, or sanctuary cities, they're aiding and abetting in the law breaking. Okay, they're going to get federal funds.
Yeah. We're trying to get rid of them. We're trying to end them, and a lot of the people in those communities don't want them. You know, California is a big example.
Would you cut off their money?
I might have to do that. Sometimes that's the only thing you can do. Look, California is a great example of it. If you actually polled the people, they don't want sanctuary cities, but Gavin Newsom does, and these radical left politicians do. And, you know, if you asked them why, they couldn't even. I watched Gavin Newsom try to answer that question. He was unable to even answer. He looked like an idiot. He was unable to answer. I asked him one other question. Why is it that you don't want millions of gallons of water a day pouring throughout California? You know, the farmland in California is, they say, the equivalent of Iowa, great land, but it's got no water. And you sit there, and it's literally, you can see it burning. It's on flame.
Sure.
All they need is water in that big farmland. And I ask them, why? How is it possible that you're not allowing this water? They divert it out to the Pacific Ocean, where it drops into the ocean. And you know what it's like? It's like nothing. To the Pacific Ocean, it's like 2 glasses of water. It's nothing. Millions of gallons of water is diverted way up north in California into the Pacific Ocean. That water, you know, they have the pipes in it. It's half pipes. You see them all the time, half pipes. People live in those half pipes now. You know, they have homeless living in those half pipes. But this is water that millions of gallons of water a week and a day in some cases, you know, depending on the flow. So much water they wouldn't know what to do with it. Your sprinklers would be filled. They can even, remember when I took criticism because I said you have to manage your forests. The head of a country that lives in forests, a number of them actually, Finland told me this, Austria told me this, head of Austria, head of Finland. And it was beautiful the way they expressed it. They said, we live in a forest. We are a forest nation. That's beautiful, isn't it, to say that? We have trees that are the most magnificent in the world, far more beautiful than what they have in California, and much more flammable. Mm-hmm. He said, we don't have forest fires. We manage our forests.
You can get a degree in forestry.
Well, they'll do cuts, yeah. Can you imagine? But you don't need much. You have to clean the floors of the forest. You know, when they had forests, I go to see some of the sites I watched in California. They use billions of dollars of money. And they do say, you know, I mean, look at what happened. Los Angeles, that's like a nuclear weapon went off, what's happened to Los Angeles. And, you know, that thing went for 4 or 5 days. Nobody was even fighting it because they didn't have any water. Their fire departments aren't funded properly. And the firefighters were brave as hell. They were fighting without water. I mean, they turn on a fire hydrant, there's no water that comes out, and they're sitting, and the fires are rushing at them at 30, 40 miles an hour. Those firefighters were brave. What happened to that state is incredible. And then you listen to, I remember when Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom were debating on your show.
Yeah.
And Newsom's talking like, everything's great. Oh, everything's great, just great, just great. More people left California this year than ever have left in history before the fire. But look at it. Take a look. And you know, the amazing thing, these are wealthy people. Many wealthy people lost their homes. I saw somebody on television, one of the wealthiest people, one of the most powerful people in the country, being interviewed as though he were a vagrant. His shirt was, and you have to know him, he's a mean, horrible human being. He's a tough guy, very tough guy, a horrible person.
Yeah.
But he's very rich. And
He's rich, but he's a horrible person.
No, he's a horrible human being. I know you have rich people that are very nice, but this guy's a terrible person. So I say, that's so-and-so. I said to Melania, I said, look at it. They were interviewing him as a guy that lost his house. He said, they took my house away. And he's literally in his underwear and his T-shirt. It looked like he just got out of the bedroom. And I say, that's one of the wealthiest guys in the country. Look at this guy. Take a look at him. Someday I'll tell you the name, maybe after the interview. Okay. But you won't even believe it. But he was on television as somebody that, and he was complaining they wouldn't let him go to his house, which was on fire. They wouldn't let him go because, you know, they don't want him to die. No, some of the wealthiest, most powerful people lost their homes. And it looked like our country was helpless. This fire was just raging, and then it would catch to another area, another area, another area. There was nothing. It took a week and a half, and I've never seen anything like it. We look so weak.
Will you give, obviously Americans want to help other Americans in need, okay? Fair enough, we do that. We got to help the people in North Carolina. They've been suffering.
Well, you know, that's what I want to do. That's why I'm stopping there first.
You're going to stop in California?
I'm stopping in North
Should
Carolina
the money be
first.
contingent on them practicing the science of forestry?
Well, I think this, I'm going to put a statement out today, I think, and maybe it's already written. I said, I don't think we should give California anything until they let water flow down into their...
Just from the north to the south.
This is a political thing. I don't know what it is. You know, they talk about the Delta smelt. It's a little tiny fish like this. They say it's an endangered species. Well, how is it endangered? No wonder it's endangered. It's not getting any water. How do you, if you have a fish and you're stopping the water, isn't that going to hurt the fish?
I did a show in 2009 from the San Joaquin Valley, Devin Nunes' district.
Right.
And they wouldn't give thousands of acres of farmland water to protect that.
By the way, you see that now. I drove up the highway. I was with Devin Nunes, another Republican congressman, and I looked at these vast areas of land, and it looked like it was just burning. It was dark. It was dry. And then there'd be a little patch, little tiny patch of green, beautiful green. And I said, why? How come all this land has these little patches? They said, that's all that we're allowed to farm because we have no water. I said, are you having a drought? No. They've turned off the water. They turned off the spigot from up north in order to protect the Delta smelt.
Let me move on to the
And by the way, I don't really believe it's the Delta smelt because nobody could do that. It's not endangered either. They have it in other locations, et cetera, et cetera.
They're doing seemingly everything they could do, like New York is in many ways, to chase people away.
No, but can you imagine today?
It's crazy.
When people, and the press doesn't like, when I talk about the water that they're turning into the Pacific, the press never wants to put it on. The fake news. They don't want to put it on, Sean.
You do realize that you have permanently tattooed into the forehead of legacy media the term fake news. You do realize they spent 9 years, 9 years attacking you from the moment you came down that escalator, and they didn't stop. And here's the interesting part to me, is that all of the attacks, all the weaponization, all the FISA warrants, all the Russia, and we can go on, all the various venues, the J6 committee, which kept out a lot of pertinent information.
And how about the J6 committee? I call it the unselect. You know, they say to select.
But they didn't win.
No. What they did was criminal. That's why they got pardoned.
No, I'm
they
saying
deleted and destroyed all of the information that they collected
Why else
over
would they
2
need
years.
a pardon?
And you know why? Because it proved I was right. All of that information was deleted and destroyed. They deleted all of the information having to do with the 10,000 soldiers that I offered to Nancy Pelosi, and she's now on tape admitting it.
I have 4 of the 5 people on tape, and General Milley was the 5th in writing, all saying that you authorized it in the days leading up. The Capitol Police Chief asked for the guard, was begging for the guard. Muriel Bowser, in writing, denied the use of the guard.
But Nancy Pelosi even more strongly denied it.
She said that.
She was responsible
She
for
took
the whole
responsibility.
Thing. She was and she took responsibility for her daughter.
Yeah.
When it was exposed, they found the daughter's tape, a videotape of her mother saying that she was responsible. And you know what? And they try to lose it. But
let me move on to the economy.
Unselect, remember this, the Unselect Committee, these people that were appointed, all Democrats, plus 2 worse than Democrats, that's crying Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, who lost her congressional seat by more than any person in the history of Congress. She lost by a number that nobody has ever lost by. You know why? Because usually when you have a poll and you're down by like 40 or 50 points, you're smart enough to drop out. She should have dropped out. At least she wouldn't have that moniker.
Before I go to the economy and foreign policy, as long as you brought up this topic, Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, who got a preemptive pardon, all these people that got pardoned, Anthony Fauci, did he know that NIH money through the EcoHealth Alliance was funding the Wuhan Virology Lab? There seems to be text and messages and emails that went back and forth. You talk about the Unselect Committee, as you call it, the January 6th committee. They had a predetermined outcome. General Milley, all these people, the Biden family members. Joe Biden ran and said he would never do preemptive pardons. It was an issue that came up when you were leaving your first time.
He thought, he heard that I was going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was given the option. They said, sir, would you like to pardon everybody, including yourself? I said, I'm not going to pardon anybody. We didn't do anything wrong. And we had people that suffered. They're incredible patriots. We had people that suffered. You had Bannon put in jail. You had Peter Navarro put in jail. You had people that suffered. And far worse than that, they've lost their fortunes. They've lost their whatever, their nest egg, paying it to lawyers. And those people, and people said, and they wouldn't have even taken, most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him. I mean, the money went to him.
Should Congress investigate that?
Well, I don't know. It's, you know, I've
ordered the DOJ?
I've always been, look, he didn't give himself a pardon. And he didn't give some other people a pardon that needed it. And I heard Schiff went to him and just begged him for a pardon because Schiff is a crook. Yeah. Schiff is a crooked guy. He's a crooked politician. He made up the story about Russia. He totally made it up. You know, he's a storyteller. And then after he made it up, they found out that there was a tape of the conversation made by, you know, I guess the State Department. I don't know. When you make calls, they make tapes sometimes, not all the time.
He was the one talking to the Russians.
So he, in the meantime, made up the conversation, totally made it up about quid pro quo. There was no quid pro quo, just there was a perfect call. Tim Scott was the first one to come. He read it. He said, "This is a perfect call. What are you doing? You're impeaching a man for a perfect call." It was Schiff, Hillary, the whole group. You know what? They should. Schiff is just a bad, sick guy. And he went to Biden and he demanded a pardon because he thought he did something. He knew he did something.
Benny Thompson won the chairman of that committee.
Benny Thompson destroyed, along with that Unselect Committee, destroyed all of the work that took place over 2 years. You know why? It showed that I was right.
We are back with the 45th and 47th President of the United States right after the break.
Unmuting my mic this time. Yes, I unmuted my mic. Okay. Oh, that is some spicy content. So Donald Trump is going to go after Joe Biden. Is that what he's saying? Donald Trump is saying, okay, wait a second. So Adam Schiff got a pardon, Liz Cheney got a pardon, Dr. Fauci got a pardon for crimes against humanity. I'm gonna go. Joe Biden didn't pardon himself. Sean Hannity goes, "Did you pardon? You gonna tell the DOJ to go after Joe Biden? Yeah, why not? You know, there's this ruling from the Supreme Court about presidential immunity, and that has to do with what the president did while in office. Joe Biden wasn't in office when he was committing these crimes. Joe Biden was committing these crimes back in 2014. Joe Biden was either vice president or he was a private citizen. He was mishandling classified documents when Joe Biden was doing deals with the Chinese and the Ukrainians. It would be really nice to actually hang a scalp on the wall, politically, proverbially, for justice to say, okay, well, you know what? The kingpin of the Biden crime family, Joe Biden, is clearly going to go to prison. I mean, wouldn't that be something? Boy, wouldn't that be amazing? Turnabout is fair play, ladies and gentlemen. And Donald Trump sure likes to make an entrance and is doing so right now. I mean, he's pardoned all of the January 6th political prisoners. I mean, what was to stop him from saying, okay, well, now we're just going to go after Joe Biden? That's an amazing clip. ALX, that's a wild clip, man. Donald Trump saying he didn't pardon himself. So it looks like Joe Biden maybe headed for some choppy waters. Now he pardoned his family, many members of his family, pretty much every single member of his family. They got his hand stuck in the cookie jar. But now Congress is reopening a January 6th classified subcommittee that has the authority to subpoena Congress, to subpoena the FBI and federal agencies. So it looks like we're really going to get to the bottom of January 6th. And I got to give huge credit to Mike Johnson for that. Donald Trump pardons nearly all January 6th defendants on Inauguration Day, and I really hope he gets a question about this. Come on, Hannity, get to the question. Stop talking about the Delta smelt. Get to the question. Can you guys roast me in the chat? Do I take too long to get to a question? Like, if y'all watch the stream, I'm sure you've watched one of our streams before. Things are going great. I really appreciate you and a lot of mad love for all y'all watching the stream. But I really try not to filibuster. Sometimes I get on my high horse. Really try not to be one of those guys who like literally makes my guests listen to a big rampaging speech. Okay? But I can do better. Someone who asks really poignant and sharp questions is Tucker. He's like a hero of mine. He used to work for Tucker. Anyway, Trump pardons nearly all January 6th defendants on Inauguration Day. Trump vowed he would do this in December. These pardons have gone through, and I really hope that he talks about them. Ladies and gentlemen, 1,500 were released. And by the way, it's a pardon, not a commutation. Isabella DeLuca. I just got the call. I'm officially pardoned. J6ers, I am pardoned. We praise the Lord. We won. My name is cleared. My rights are back. God is good. Look at some of these clips, man. Some of these clips are just absolutely heartbreaking. That's what it is. Get emotional, man. Can't get emotional. Chill out. Too much emotions in the last couple days. Ben. Listen, Benjamin. I'm talking to myself here. Internal monologue. Too many emotions the last couple days. Oh, it's beautiful to see. Guys cutting off their ankle bracelets. Look at this. Boom. See ya. GTFO.
Free at last.
So
I feel
awesome.
justice was prevailed today. And like I kept saying from the very beginning, it was a two-tier justice system under the Biden administration. He pardoned his own son. I just walked in the Capitol to peacefully protest. I'm not charged with violence. I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't destroy property. So therefore, yes, it's very accurate what he just did today as far as giving us that full pardon. So I agree with the 100%, obviously, and happy about this and ready to get on with my life.
Dude, these J6ers. Just one more.
Promises made, promises kept.
Just one more. Outside of the federal prisons, these J6ers being freed, being liberated, having a full pardon. And a pardon, of course, says what? Pardon says that we did something wrong to you. The pardon is we got this wrong, right? So if you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a commercial break, right? And this is Fox News. But we are streaming and watching along with Hannity and his interview with President Trump, the first corporate media, cable news interview inside of the Oval Office. President Trump is in the Oval Office. He's been rolling. He's been talking a lot about the conspiracy against him. He's been talking a lot about the administration's accomplishments. Donald Trump is calm, cool, and collected, and he's saying, no regrets. I'm ready to go. You can just do things, Trump says. You can just do things. I just don't care about it. You can just do things. Saying that Liz Cheney, Adam Schiff, and all these people need to be criminally prosecuted. Saying that Joe Biden didn't pardon himself, and that might have been a big problem for Joe Biden. Be it that he committed his crimes, not while he was president, but while he was a private citizen. So the presidential immunity ruling from the Supreme Court doesn't apply. Got my pardon now about my lectern. Says the lectern guy. Freaking love this guy. This guy? Dude who has, this funny photo with the lectern. This guy went to federal prison. Freaking crazy. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're back.
This interview with President Donald J. Trump. So you did run on a platform. You were very straightforward. You said you would pardon these people that were sentenced for January 6th.
No, totally.
You did. The only criticism or pushback I've seen is about people that were convicted or were involved in incidents where they were violent with police. Why did they get a pardon?
Number of reasons. Number one, they were in there for 3.5 years, a long time.
Right.
And in many solitary confinement, treated like nobody's ever been treated so badly. They were treated like the worst criminals in history. And you know what they were there for? They were protesting the vote because they knew the election was rigged and they were protesting the vote. And that you should be allowed to protest a vote. You should be allowed to. When the day comes,
you shouldn't be able to invade the Capitol.
Ready? Most of the people were absolutely innocent. Okay, but forgetting all about that, these people have served horribly a long time. It would be very, very cumbersome to go and look. You know how many people we're talking about? 1,500 people. Almost all of them should not have been. This should not have happened. And the other thing is this: some of those people with the police, true, but they were very minor incidents. Okay, they get built up by a couple of fake guys that are on CNN all the time.
Nobody watches.
They were very minor incidents, and it was time. You have murderers in Philadelphia. You have murderers in Los Angeles that don't even get any time. They don't even collect them, and they know they're there to be collected. And then they go on television and act holier than thou about this one or that one. You had 1,500 people that suffered. That's a lot of people. They were looking for new people 2 weeks ago. They were looking, wait a minute, they were looking to charge new people. They have a woman who's 76 years old that they said made a statement that was a little bit out of line years after the fact. This was a political hoax. And you know what? Those people, and I'm not saying in every single case, but there was a lot of patriotism with those people, a lot of patriotism. They did a recording, and they asked me if I do the voiceover, and I did. Do you know it was the #1 selling, whatever you call it nowadays, album, whatever, song,
CD,
whatever you call it. You don't know. It changes every year, right? But it was the #1 selling song, #1 on Billboard, #1 on everything for so long. People get it. They wanted to see those people.
American people were aware. You told them what you would do. They voted for Joe Biden said he would not do it. Let me move on to the economy. Because it's so important. It was such a big
Yeah. I was very clear about it.
Very clear.
I said I was going to release him, and probably very quickly. And they voted for me, and I won in a landslide. And that was only one of the many reasons.
Joe said he would not do preemptive pardons back in 2020. Chuck Schumer said it. Schiff said it. They all said it. The media said it.
The precedent that he set on pardons is amazing. That's a much bigger story, but people don't like talking about it. He pardoned everybody, but he didn't pardon himself. And remember this, those people that he pardoned are now mandated, because they got a pardon, to testify, and they can't take the fifth.
Should Congress investigate that?
I think we'll let Congress decide.
Would you want the Attorney General to investigate it?
I was always against that with presidents and Hillary Clinton. I could have had Hillary Clinton, a big number done on her.
Have you changed your mind?
And I didn't want to. Well, I went through 4 years of hell by this scum that we had to deal with. I went through 4 years of hell. I spent millions of dollars in legal fees, and I won, but I did it the hard way. It's really hard to say that they shouldn't have to go through it also. It is very hard to say that. Joe Biden, remember this, Joe Biden got very bad advice because, like he has in everything.
Hunter's laptop.
He got bad advice on Ukraine. He got bad advice that war should have never started. He got bad advice on Israel. He got bad advice on the way he got out of Afghanistan. We should have gotten out with strength and dignity, not like a bunch of losers. Joe Biden has very bad advisors. Somebody advised Joe Biden to give pardons to everybody but him. They wanted to take care of, yeah, but Sean, they wanted to, I don't care.
They're yelling at me.
This is more important because right now the economy is going to do great.
I want to know about
I'm here, so the economy, but you have to understand, he had bad advisors on almost everything. It's like in the old days when the Secretary of State said he never made a correct decision on foreign policy. Joe Biden got very bad advice.
You've been through, you had two would-be assassins. You came within a millimeter of losing your life in this whole process. I know you kind of are somebody that compartmentalizes because I've known you so long, but do you ever think, and you said this in your inaugural, that you really believe God saved your life so that this was your destiny? Explain that.
Well, I do believe that. I've had people that really know a lot about guns. And they said that gun, that particular gun, in that beautiful field, as I called it, in Pennsylvania, which it is, Butler, that gun's a very accurate gun, and that a bad shooter would hit the target 100% of the time.
You can't miss.
Okay, from that distance. Yeah, from that distance. I mean, to me, I don't know as much about it. They said it's like for a golfer sinking a 1-foot putt from that distance. And my son Don and my son, both of them, Eric, they're great shooters. Both of them are great shooters. And they said it's amazing. It's a miracle. I think it affected them because they can't believe that happened. I turned. If I didn't turn, when the turn was like split second perfect timing. So something happened, and I don't think you can call it just luck. The chance was like 1/8 of a second, or we wouldn't be sitting here. Think of it, in a volume of time, 1/8 of a second, I was in the right position.
Do you believe that moment, people say to me, they see a change in you? Do you believe you changed? Is this, for example, increased your faith in God?
Yes, I think so. I don't think I've changed, but I think that has taken place, yeah. Because when you look at statistically, I should never be here. I mean, if I don't turn I'm looking at an immigration chart, my favorite chart ever in history.
Yeah.
Even if the numbers were bad, I would.
We're talking about assassination, and you're telling jokes.
No, can you
believe it? It's terrible.
No,
I remember that day. Like
when I turned, and it had to be at an exactly 90-degree angle, and I said, "Throw down the chart" or something to that effect, and they bring the chart, and I'm literally looking exactly at the right angle. I couldn't have even been a little further or a little bit less. It would have whacked. Because it was 1/8 of an inch. The entire ride was 1/8 of an inch.
Will you investigate these assassination attempts? And you stated that you will release the files, all of the files, as it relates to the JFK assassination. And by the way, this is his desk.
Yeah, that's right.
This is where John Kennedy, little
That's
John
a
Kennedy.
movable door.
Yeah.
It's a little door there. That's where John was.
John, yeah. And RFK. And also Martin Luther King Jr., and that you will be transparent. This was going to happen in the first.
So many people have asked me to do that, and I did it with Kennedy to an extent, but I was asked by some of our government officials not to, and you have to respect them. I was actually asked by Mike Pompeo, who's Secretary of State, not to, and I felt he knew something that maybe, when he asks you not to, you sort of say, why? And he felt that it was just not a good time to release him. And you might ask him why. Maybe he'll deny that even. But he did. He asked me. And some others also, though. They didn't want the Kennedy stuff released. And they're professionals, and I respect them. And they're working for me and the country. They're working for the country. And so I didn't release, but I'm going to release them immediately upon getting, we're going to see the information. We're looking at it right now.
More Hannity from the White House as we continue.
Oh, here we go, all over again. Here we go. I think we've got a very short break here. We've got 5 till, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump being asked about the release of the JFK files. Donald Trump being asked about where he's going to be when it comes to his promise to get the files out. And I have this promise loaded up because I think it's Donald Trump's most important promise. There was a rumor today that Donald Trump was going to be releasing the JFK files.
As a first step toward restoring transparency and accountability to government, we will also reverse the overclassification of government documents, and in the coming days, we are going to make public remaining records relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and other topics of great public interest. It's all going to be released, Uncle Sam. And I will direct our military to begin construction of the great Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will all be made in the USA.
So this is the promise. And this, of course, was what Donald Trump was saying in his last MAGA rally before being sworn in as president. This is the day before he was sworn in as president. There was a rumor that went thermonuclear today that Donald Trump was about to, at 3 p.m., release all of the JFK files. That rumor was corrected. This comes from a guy named Matthew Foldy, who's a great reporter and somebody who has a lot of sources in Capitol Hill. And so he's not a crackpot. He's somebody you should trust. And I like Matthew Foldy. He's a good dude. I know him. But he said, no, wait, hold on. Pump the brakes. This is going to happen soon, imminently. Donald Trump sitting here saying, no, you got to find out who killed not only JFK and RFK, but also MLK. Oh, no. You want to talk about burning the whole place down. Well, that's how you do it. Goodness gracious. The more you know, ladies and gentlemen. The more you know. So Donald Trump was being asked there by Hannity about this, and then Hannity was coming after Donald Trump for the J6 pardons, which is insane. Insane. I'm in a very happy and positive mood. I do not want to do friendly fire right now. I have bit the bullet, and I have tried as hard as I can to bring more people into the movement and not engage in flame wars. But I'm telling you, dude, Hannity, what the hell is wrong with you, bro? What are you talking about? Like Hannity putting the screws to Donald Trump about pardoning certain J6ers? Do you not understand the entire process was completely and totally rigged? Do you not understand that there was nothing that was righteous or fair about any of this? That none of these people could get a fair trial? I don't care what you did. If you waved an American flag while standing 200 yards away from the Capitol, or if you literally were in altercations with police officers, no one got a fair trial. No one got nothing out of this system. They all got destroyed. All of them. Donald Trump's answer there was great. Hey, they've spent 3 years in prison. Okay, fine. They fought a cop. They spent 3 years in prison. Now you get a pardon because this system was broken, ladies and gentlemen. So we are awaiting. It is 9:59 p.m. We are awaiting President Trump's sign-off with Sean Hannity. And then I have some other breaking news and some very, very interesting things. Kash Patel's congressional hearing has been scheduled. RFK's congressional hearing has been scheduled. Lock in, ladies and gentlemen. Next Wednesday, it's going to be amazing. And Donald Trump is set, I guess, to release the JFK files sometime imminently, as he has promised here and as he promised right there in the Hannity clip. Donald Trump liberated all the J6 political prisoners. It's almost it's crazy to think about that. We're going to have more on the show tomorrow. And here we are back with
We
Hannity.
want to thank President Trump, his administration, for welcoming all of us to the White House just 2 days after taking office. We'll have more of this interview coming up tomorrow. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have left for tonight. In the meantime, let not your heart be troubled. Greg Gutfeld standing by to put a smile on your face. Have a great night.
Oh, you called it, Danny. Danny freaking called it. As Danny's like, he's gonna cut it off and make it a two-parter. He's gonna cut it off and make it a two-parter. Okay, well then, ladies and gentlemen, we've done our duty to bring you the live interview with Donald Trump. I thought it was great. Far and away. Producers, let me know. I'm looking in the chat right now. And chat, let me know. Far and away, the biggest news to come out of this is President Trump saying, no, I'm going to be sincerely looking at putting Joe Biden in prison. Come on. Yes. Birthright citizenship dead, DEI dead, affirmative action dead, Biden illegal immigrant app dead, gender ideology dead, and it's only day 2 of the Trump presidency. Yeah, it's been amazing. And oh, by the way, in case you're wondering how the left is doing, not great. Kamala Harris is apparently getting kicked out of her own neighborhood in Los Angeles. Do you know this? Like, Kamala Harris is potentially headed for divorce from her husband. She blames her husband for losing the election. Now, don't blame him too loudly. We hear that Doug can really throw hands. What a real piece of garbage, piece of work that guy is. Doug Emhoff is somebody who cheated on his first wife by banging and shagging the nanny, the tutor of his children. You wonder why his children look like freaking art projects from a 3-year-old's room. Like the children look like I'd see Zoolander characters, and his children look so freaking messed up. Derelict is what his children actually look like. If you know, you know. Anyway, Doug Emhoff banged the nanny, got divorced from his first wife, then met Kamala. What a win. What a catch, Kamala, really. But speaking of catching, Doug's girlfriends in between Kamala Harris really caught hands because Doug was beating on them. That's true. I mean, it's true. He's like a spousal abuser. Okay? So, yeah. Doug was the one getting beat. Doug and Kamala were the ones getting beat, actually, in a strange reversal of roles in the 2024 election. Apparently, that's ruining their marriage. Inside the former VP's, Kamala Harris's marriage turmoil as Doug Emhoff scandals blamed for losing. Could you imagine? Kamala Harris is blaming this freaking block of wood. What is this guy? The guy is like, he's like made out of Play-Doh. He's like a monster. He's a male feminist. Obviously, he's got so much estrogen like raging through his body. Never lifted a weight in his life. It's a complete slob, degenerate, dresses like a 12-year-old. What a freaking loser. Look at this guy. What a slob. It's like, what do these guys look like? He's like, they just look so soft. You know, he looks like an eraser, right? Like it's just like these people. Never trust a male feminist. We tell you this time and time again. Never trust a male feminist. Anyway, here's Kamala doing graffiti. I'm not sure if this is like, the election's over, right? Like, you don't have to do more urban outreach, Kamala. Oh, there she is. So, okay, really quickly here, let's read. Kamala Harris is apparently getting divorced. We'll find out. Him, Michelle, Mike, Obama, all of it. It's all coming collapsing down. They're not doing great. Kamala Harris was all smiles and affection before her beloved second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, and immediately aftermath her crushing presidential election defeat. But now that President Donald Trump has been sworn into office, the sore loser Harris is blame game flipping on her deadweight husband as she weighs her political future, maybe 2026 governor run in California. I'm just going to say this right now, and I'm going to say this because I love you and because I need you to know I've never lied to you, and I will always tell you where I stand on things. I want Kamala Harris to run for office forever. Kamala Harris has my full endorsement. Please don't unsubscribe. Understand where I'm coming from here. I need Kamala Harris to run. She's the worst candidate I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anything worse. Hey, Alex, just grab me one thing. I'll just ask for one more thing because I know it's 10 o'clock. Please get me Kamala Harris not knowing how to use a cell phone. We just heard Sean Hannity talk about like CDs. Sean Hannity's like, I don't know, is it a CD? Is it a Walkman? Kamala Harris, but like Sean Hannity's like old, right? He's in his 60s, okay? Kamala Harris didn't know how to use a cell phone. Whenever you have that, load it up. Just chuck it up. I just want to show you this one little chuckle. Let's just all have a chuckle before going to bed here, okay? I'm already past my bedtime. My bedtime's like 9 p.m. One source exclusively told the Daily Mail, there's plenty of blame to go around as far as Kamala's concerned. Doug has his share. Doug did Kamala no favors in the election. Frankly, he looked like a hypocritical ass after bombshells that he had got his child's nanny pregnant while married to his first wife and assaulted his ex-girlfriend on the heels of his I am a woman crusade, despite their brave united front in the inauguration. Jimmy Carter's funeral, where Kamala Harris looked like she was enraged. It looks like things are not hunky-dory between them. And a word is that husband of Kamala Harris has already signed up for a job with a big law firm, which will require them to split their time between New York and Los Angeles. And Kamala Harris wants to go to Los Angeles to go be governor. So please continue to run for governor. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here is Kamala Harris not knowing how to use a cell phone. I need Kamala Harris to keep running for office. Go.
How you doing? Have you voted already? You did? Thank you.
Okay. We've done this a million times, but like, have you ever used a cell phone? Even if you don't use an Apple device, this is an Apple iPhone, even if you don't use an Apple iPhone, you know how the camera function works on a phone. First off, the camera function, especially the video function, can't work if you're actually on a phone call. That's not how it works unless you're on FaceTime. She's not on FaceTime. So what you can see there is obviously the camera app is open. You can see Kamala Harris, the reflection of Kamala Harris's face live. She's fake having a conversation. What kind of a sociopath does this? She's literally making up conversations in her own head. She belongs in a psych ward. This lady belongs in a straitjacket. This lady belongs incarcerated, okay? Like legitimately, like what she did to the tens of thousands of black men in California who were caught with a gram of weed. She was so excited to lock up everyone until she needed to run for president, okay? And then she needed the votes. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Like, look at this. You have to have IQ of 50. You have to have an IQ of like the inside temperature of an igloo to do this. Look, I mean, I don't mean to belabor the point, but just one more time, watch this. Here's the other thing. Let's say you are faking a phone call, okay? I have a feeling that Kamala Harris has faked it quite a few times, you know what I mean? Gotta get ahead, Kamala Harris, and you don't want to blow it, right? Or maybe you do if you're Kamala Harris. And what I'm trying to say here is that if you are staging a fake phone call, okay, at least don't turn the phone. At least don't turn the phone and show everyone it's a fake phone call. It's the easiest way to like actually save yourself here is to not turn the phone. You could just not turn the phone around. And you just plod along with your fake like tee hee hee ha 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 thing. But no, she had to turn the phone around. That's the level. This is the IQ. I'm telling you, these are like the kind of IQs where you're like, well, we have to take your driver's license away now, and we don't think that you can breathe unaided. And we're gonna have to give you the special mittens so you don't hurt yourself to wear. And maybe you can do like watercolor paintings where you hold the paintbrush in your mouth.
Thank you.
What the hell is that? Every time I see it, it's like, every time I watch this, it's like flowers for Algernon. It's like really, really something. It's really something. Yeah, I mean, never go full R word, right? The old Tropic Thunder line. Okay, so that's why I'm just trying to express to you why we need Kamala Harris to keep running for office. Okay, just want to make that really, really quick little point here. Want to make that really quick little point. And LOL, pretty funny. All of Kamala Harris's neighbors say they don't want her back in their neighborhood. These are all the rich people in Brentwood. If you know Brentwood in Los Angeles, it's one of those really, it's a very nice neighborhood. And all of her neighbors are being quoted here by the Daily Mail saying, "I'm embarrassed that she lives here. I'm embarrassed that she represented the United States," says Lewis, a real estate investor who lives near Kamala Harris in Brentwood. Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, they destroyed my state. Kamala Harris will exactly the same. I'd rather she find a different state to destroy. These are Californians talking about Kamala Harris here. It's like, do you understand the timeline we're living in? I don't care that she's back, except they block the road whenever she comes to town. People are annoyed about the congestion. Kamala Harris look at the joy. This was a photo taken of her yesterday. Look at the joy there. This is pure joy. Yeah, people are not excited. Not excited for her to be back. I wish she were back in Washington. I'm happy to have her back. Oh, all right. Well, I mean, kind of a slight there. Nobody's really happy that Kamala is there. And look at this. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was able to find water. Not water in any hydrants that could help people. No, she was just able to find this water. She was able to find these bottles of water. No water in the hydrants, though, right? As people's homes are burning. Why would Kamala Harris, we did some research, why would Kamala Harris also be considering divorcing her husband? Well, because her husband literally locked lips with Jill Biden in front of the entire country in what is definitely the solution. If you've, if the results of a Viagra last longer than 4 hours, look at this photo. That's all you need. You'll be good. Okay. So yeah, sorry to show you those images, and it just is what it is. There are some really glorious things that are happening from the White House. Carolyn Leavitt confirms 1,500 new U.S. troops will deploy to the southern border. Carolyn Leavitt doing a great job there. Her first day as White House press secretary. Tim Burchett torched Jim Acosta to his face. He was on our show saying that the Cartoon Network SpongeBob SquarePants has more viewers than CNN. The DEI hire Philadelphia mayor doesn't know how to spell Eagles. Sorry about that. Elgizes. There we go. Unfortunately, the trader's going to trait, right? McConnell, Murkowski, and Collins will not be voting for Pete Hegseth. J.D. Vance will have to cast a tie-breaking vote. Very sad and humiliating, and they should all face all of them should face massive primaries. CNN will lay off hundreds of employees, along with NBC News as well. It is 5 p.m. I posted today, and guess what? All the DEI offices were closed. And that's pretty special. The Lake and Riley Act passed. So much news. It's just like impossible. It's just like a constant. We love it. We're built for it. Breaking, CNN and NBC are all planning major layoffs this week. NBC has a really cool building in New York. If this show gets big enough, that's the only thing I would consider potentially buying that building and moving it down to Tampa. Look at this. Here is the Department of State removed its DEI page. Exciting. President Trump officially named Sean Curran as Secret Service Director. This is very interesting. Executive producer ALX was pointing this out. That Dan Bongino said, "I tried to warn you." So apparently Dan Bongino doesn't like this selection. So I don't know what the deal is. Donald Trump saying Sean has 23 years in law enforcement experience, starting career Secret Service in 2001, special agent, New York field office. He conducted and protected intelligence investigations, recruitment, and logistics support for the district. During my first term, Sean arrived as assistant special agent in charge of Presidential Protection Division, direct oversight. Listen, all I know is that that Sean Curran is somebody who's trusted by the president, who's by the president's side all the time, who put his body in the line of fire during Butler. And what do I know? I haven't been a Secret Service agent. So when Dan Bongino speaks up and says, "I tried to warn you," I don't know, man. That's a little scary. But Trump trusts this dude. Okay, that's all I know. Trump trusts this dude. Breaking: Secretary of State Marco Rubio is planning to go to Panama next week in what has got to be his first trip, right? The ALX is like his first. Marco Rubio's first trip will be to Panama. That's great to renegotiate getting the Panama Canal back. Yikes! And there's our show live. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see what happens. Exciting breaking news. So much going on. The Kash Patel and RFK. The Kash Patel and RFK hearings will be Wednesday, January 29th. Okay? ALX, just correct me on that, please. Or just fact check me on that. Just make sure that I got that right. Because, yep, okay. So get ready, lock and load. Of course, that's going to be a tough day. I really hope that there are different times because I'd really like to hear both of them. But we're going to be with our boy Kash. Okay, we stand with Kash. Kash only for us, ladies and gentlemen. And so we'll be rocking with Kash that day. I did want to give you one more one more final beautiful hug good night from us in our show. A clip that I'll just have to keep playing because it's so freaking unbelievably heartwarming, ladies and gentlemen, which is the clip of the J6 political prisoner being reunited with his 2-year-old daughter.
Daddy's home.
It hits you in the feels. Any dads out there? Any dads out there? Any old dads? Any young dads? Any wannabe dads? Let me tell you what, like, coming home to that is the greatest motivator on earth, and that's what I come home to. And I don't know who this man is, and we're going to find his identity. We're going to do something nice for him. ALX, here's what I want to do, ALX. I want to, like, do a thing where if you're a J6 political prisoner, I want to give you, like, a Texas Roadhouse gift card or something. And I'll give as many out as I want to be generous. God called for us to be generous. Whatever this guy, like, I want to, like, buy every J6 or a steak or something, right? Like, that's what I want to do. Well, let's figure out a way for them to contact all of us. I want to, like every single one. I want to give them, like, a McDonald's gift card. Maybe get them McDonald's. I don't know. Like, I want to do something nice for these people. It has touched my heart. We are saving this country. We're doing it at record speed. And I'll end with this. It's a tactic. This is a tactic. Donald Trump is flooding the zone, and it's working. The left doesn't know what to attack. You know, when they can isolate you and then they can hurt you. When they can figure out, like, oh, kids in cages, when they can come up with, like, lies like that, then they can, like, really build up an ecosystem and then come after you. But they have no ecosystem to build up now. Nobody's even watching them anymore. Like, they're trying so desperately to come up with, like, fake attacks on Elon Musk, Donald Trump, J6ers, even Sean Hannity giving Trump, like, the business over the J6ers. Like, bro, like, no. Like, those tactics don't work anymore. We don't do that here. I'm not saying that, like, Donald Trump is infallible. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be questioned and that people don't have bad ideas. I mean, people do have bad ideas. I have bad ideas. And that there shouldn't be, like, good frictions, right, to come up with the best ideas. You're right now, you know, it's clear that there have been some major frictions in the buildup of this Trump administration. What I'm saying is that I'm not talking about constructive criticism. I'm talking about the corporate media trying to sabotage and destroy President Trump. They've lost their power. It's like the scene in the Lord of the Rings. You have no power here. That's what's going on. It's amazing. And so they're desperately trying to, like, run hoaxes on Elon, on Vivek, on MAGA, on America First, on Donald Trump, and they're losing. Nothing sticks. Nothing. And Donald Trump's doing so much, ending DEI, ending federally funded racism, ending anti-white hate, reinstating all of these military members and cartels as terrorist organizations, getting rid of affirmative action. Donald Trump got rid of affirmative action overnight. Oh, really? Like, that was just an executive order? Oh, yeah. It was just an executive order. Just like the FBI was just an executive order. Donald Trump was getting rid of it. And he's doing so much that his enemies have no idea how or where to attack because they haven't found, there are too many fronts open on the war. And so it's an awesome tactic. Just a massive shout out to our team here. As you know, I was with my newborn and holding it down, man. Danny was up on the chat. Jamie was up there, and ALX. We're not going to miss this. You are in the right place, front seat for the golden age. We're going to keep the pressure on. We're going to keep the flames on. And I'm begging you, because it is a tactic, charge Joe Biden. I am coming out publicly and telling you two things tonight. One, I fully support any office that Kamala Harris runs for. In fact, I want Kamala Harris to run for president for the next 25 years. Okay? Please. Kamala Harris. Got to do it. All right? Got to do it. Two, charge Joe Biden. Just do it. Like, give them more things to be outraged. The outrage, there's only so much oxygen in the room. There's only so much outrage out there. So you can evaporate their capacity for outrage, and it's an incredible tactic. You can atomize and splinter all of their ability to attack you by, like, continuing the nonstop, ceaseless series of wins in lightning succession. Boom, 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 boom. Shock and awe, you might call it, right? Absolute lightning round. It's freaking epic, ladies and gentlemen. It's really exciting. It's really exciting to be back with you. We love you. We thank you. This is a tactic. We're happy to be part of it. And we'll be really happy to bring you our President Trump interview from the Oval Office. Don't worry, we're working on it. Literal baby steps here. It's your boy, Benny. Please subscribe to our channel. Please make sure that you are locked in for the front seat to the golden era. Love you all very much. See ya.
Those that want people to believe that you want retribution, that you will use the system of justice to go after your political enemies.
Maybe smash a few things along the way.
That activates it. Then you push this button. Now, whatever you do, don't push this button. Now. No! How is that even possible? Which button is the button you're supposed to push? Point to it. No!
Hey, hey, hey. Guess what day? Guess what? We set forth to new beginnings, a golden age for all see life. This reborn spirit feels good to be on Satan's bad side. Hey. Betray the scum of the earth and you see calmer seas ahead. Wear me armor of gold and rape you, drain the seabed. And guess what, guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day, what day? It is, it's hump day. Get it on.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal weeds. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.